Hello, welcome back to the channel. In an effort to diversify some of my content, I every now and then talk about a bit of magic. Now my viewers aren't too big on it, but I feel like doing it anyway. This series is called This Is My Commander, and this is why my friends hate it. It's based on some of the decks I've built, and why none of my friends seem to like playing with any of them. Why they keep inviting me back week after week, considering the crap I put them through. Anyway, today's episode is Tergrid, Killer of Friendships, and how much fun it is to make people hate you. So, to start with a personal disclaimer, I've been playing this game since 1994. As a result, I've got a pretty big selection of cards. I've opened a lot of packs, I've done a lot of trading. The stuff you're going to see in any of these videos, I probably pulled out of a pack or traded for. As well, all my decks are tailored towards my local meta here in my area. It's a little slower than sometimes, not quite as competitive. We're trying to have fun, then I decide to ruin it by playing decks like Tergrid. Also, a lot of the cards you're going to see are personal preference that don't make a lot of sense from a purely competitive standpoint, but I like them there, and that's why they're there. So the star of tonight's performance is Tergrid, God of Fright, a legendary god, 2 black and 3 from Kaldheim. Probably not the worst design decision they've ever made, but holy crap is it up there. As you can see, it's a decent body. It's a 4/5. It has menace, which means you need 2 people to block it, 2 creatures to block it. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You can guess where this is going, can't you? You can smell the salt in the air with this card. And a quick shot to prove that I actually do own all the cards in this deck. Not pictured are the lands. I don't know why I forgot them when I took it, but just to prove I am playing this deck. Speaking of the land base, we have the classic mono-black combo of Urborg, Tumi Yawgmoth, Cabal Coffers. We're running 30 swamps, so Cabal Stronghold makes a bit of sense to be in there. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, gives you black for every devotion you have, and when you start looking at the casting costs we'll be throwing down on the table, you'll see why it's there. Witch's Cottage is a swamp, so it works with Urborg. It also puts a creature card from your graveyard back on top of your deck. Castle Lochthwain will help you draw cards. Mirror the Moaning Well lets you sacrifice cards for life, which you're going to need. Maze of Ith is there to keep a guy from suffering the consequences of his actions if anyone keeps something on the board long enough to attack with it. For ramp, we're running a Soul Ring, a Charcoal Diamond, a Talisman, a Mind Stone, a Paradise Plume, a Star Compass, and a Jet Medallion to help us get stuff on the table. Liliana of the Dark Realms, and a Wayfarer's Bauble, and a map, and a sword to get us more swamps. Liliana of the Dark Realms, I think she's one of the more innocuous planeswalkers to have out. All she really does, for the most part, is get you swamps. That said, we can go for Witch's Cottage with it, because it's also a swamp. And the ultimate, you get 4 mana every time you tap a swamp. Is it really that bad? Is it really? Like, if you only managed to get 3 swamps out of your deck with it, it still got you that much further ahead, right? And guaranteed you all the draws. The rest of the things there, I think I went a little heavy on ramp, but when you see the stuff that this deck wants to throw on the table, you'll see why. So 2 of the heavy hitters, the best support cards I could find for this, were Waste Not and Bone Miser. Now, you can read by Tergrid's text block there that whenever an opponent discards a permanent card, you're going to get it back under your control. That said, it should be fairly obvious we're going to do a lot of discarding. And if we're going to do discarding, you can bet your ass everyone else is too. So, in order to minimize the pain and maximize the gain from other people's pain, these 2 guys, whenever you or an opponent are going to discard a creature card, you'll get a zombie. Whenever one of you discards a land, you get 2 black, or it's a non-creature, non-land card, draw cards. These are also draw engines within this gigantic mess we're about to create. A lot of the spells are going to be mass discards, so you're going to get a lot of stuff at once, as well as mass sacrifice to guarantee a lot of stuff at once. I will say that I've only managed to run this deck the one time. I built it a couple of days ago and played it last night. It fired beautifully, and everybody hated it, so it scored 2 points to get to stick around. So you remember all those discard and sacrifice spells? Well, First and foremost, we have the granddaddy of them all, Pox. Everyone loses a third of everything. In a 2-player game, you might not do as well. The 6-player game we had last night, I dropped a Pox, came out with almost 3 times as much land as I started with, a whole pile of creatures, a giant pile of black mana, and a bunch of zombies, which I then immediately rolled into a torrent of hailfire, and everybody just quit. I didn't expect that to be a win con, but hey, let's go with it. Myojit of Night's Reach makes everyone discard when you pull the divinity counter off. When Mind Slicer dies, everyone's discarding. Dark Deal makes everyone discard and then draw as many -1 cards they had before. Bad Deal, you draw 2, everyone else discards 2, everyone loses 2 life. You can see where some of this stuff is going. Like, Bad Deal, on the surface, is a 6 casting cost sorcery. It may not seem like a good idea. However, if you can drop this, and Tergrid gets a hold of anything, and you have at least one of her 2 friends in play, you are definitely coming out ahead. Like a lot. Smallpox is 1 life, 1 creature, 1 land, 1 card from hand. Not super big, but you're playing Commander, you have 99 cards to fill out. Death Cloud kills a lot of stuff. Killing Wave forces people to sacrifice a lot of stuff. And as mentioned, Torrent of Hailfire is sitting right there going, oh, that's a great board you have there. How much of it would you like to keep? On to some of the other support cards. Here we have a nice stream of discard, a whole bunch of sacrificing to help make sure that as people start to hate you more and more over the course of this game, you have some ability to survive it and continue to grow upon the hate. A whole bunch of discard, that, and this jackass. Because if you make everyone hate you, make them really hate you. To squeeze a bit more support out of it, Witch of the Moors from Jumpstart. A 5 casting cost 4/4 with Death Touch. Begin your end step. If you gained life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature and you get 1 back from your graveyard to your hand. We've already seen how much stuff is dying. Let's look at how much life you're going to gain. Already shown, we have Clackbridge Troll, which if someone sacrifices something to prevent it from being attacking, you gain 3. Tribute to Hunger, someone has to sack something, you gain life. Taste of Death gives you 3 food after everybody sacrifices 3 creatures. Paradise Plume gives you life every time you cast a spell of the chosen colors. We're going to go with black here. Pristine Talisman gives you a life every time you tap it for mana. And Staff of the Death Magus gives you 1 life every time a swamp or a black spell is played. Disciple of Bolus lets you sack a creature to gain a bunch of life. So at the very least, you should be able to keep the hate simmering over the course of the game. And to round out the deck, we have some ways to get stuff back with Whisper, Blood Liturgist, Disturbed Burial, Corpse Dance, and Death Denied. Feed the Swarm is a nice utility card, because if you can't, the deck has a bit of a problem getting rid of enchantments and artifacts, and planeswalkers. 2 different tutors with Beseech the Queen and Demonic Tutor. Temporal Extortion, just to find out how far people are willing to go to stop you from getting another turn. And a Brass Man, because I put 1 in every deck. I've already stated my personal preferences. I have over 400 of them. He's my rabbit's foot in every deck I play. So, this was all the effect of the 1 dry run I got with this deck. There's a few other cards I didn't include because they weren't really germane to the conversation. And I'll probably take them out because they didn't show up, which means they didn't affect anything, so I can at least tinker with some of those. If you've got any constructive criticism you want to add, just a few suggestions to the deck, I'm all ears. Go ahead and tell me. If you hate the deck, say so. If you like the deck, say so. I want to talk a bit about Magic. Can't always talk about video games. Let's have a discussion, and I will see you in the future.